Hi there, it's Lynette with Elevate Your Health Vibe, and today I have the beautiful Erin, and she and I are part of the Laura Whitworth SCHH group. It's a technique for past life regression, and so that's how Erin and I met. And Erin is very special in that she channels light language. I channel light language too, but she's something else. So I thought it'd be cool to have a little interview with her, and so that she can share her light language with us, and as well as just her experience. I did a past life regression on her, and she went into inner earth and had a parallel life, and I thought it'd be cool for her to talk about what that was like, that experience, and what that means to have a parallel life, and then also talk about her light language. So, welcome, Erin. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Lynette. I really appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, let's start with the past life regression that I did on you a couple of weeks ago. You went into a past life where you were actually in inner earth, and it was actually a parallel life. So it was you in another dimension, another aspect of yourself. So if you could just talk about what that means. What is, because I think for most people, they don't understand what parallel lives mean.
Mm,
And I think that it would be cool for us to kind of talk about that while we have the opportunity. So.
yeah. Well, truth is, I don't know exactly what it means, but I I think my whole life I've been intrigued, well, at least as young as I learned about it, intrigued by the idea that there's parallel realities and there's timelines and things like that. And it just feels right to me and true. And then I got really intrigued by the idea that we might be in more than one body at once because our soul is able to be in different places. And I've had dreams like that where I'm just somebody else. It's just a day in the life of slice of life, and I'm somebody completely different, and it just feels like it's a place I am. So I thought it'd be really fun in one of these sessions to try that out to see, oh, what if let's go see a parallel life? Where else might I be right now?
Right.
So
Yeah. And what was that like when you so I know that when we took you into the cavern, and you saw a crystal ball, and then you kind of just got like sucked into the crystal ball and down into this other realm,
yeah, that was
this
that was
inner
pretty
earth.
wild because I was not expecting it. I wanted to go to the Crystal Cavern because I hadn't been in there yet,
Yeah.
and I thought it'd be cool. And but like immediately, as I come in there, you're leading me in. I see this pedestal with like a crystal ball sitting on it. And that's weird. Crystal ball in a crystal cavern. And I felt drawn to it, and there was something moving in it, and I'm just, you're leading me along, and I'm like, hey, there's this thing here, and I'm going up to it, and as I lean over it, and I've had dreams of this kind of thing, looking to mirrors or water and getting visions. And so I thought, well, here it is again. And I'm leaning over, and I felt like a pull, and like I'm just get like sucked into it. And I'm going down, down, down in the dark. And I'm like, whoa, I'm going to inner earth. I just knew that's what I was doing, you know? And then I'm actually in this big, open, huge cavern, and there's like fields planted in there and people working the fields and things growing. And I actually, a long time ago, I had read a description of that and thought it was kind of intriguing, but I haven't thought of it in a long time. And here I am, and I'm watching these people working, and then there's these like, I heard the word harvesters, these sort of like ship things that are flying over the crops and pulling crops up into them. So the people there were kind of tending them and caring for them, but they didn't have to do labor. So I was like, wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I think I went to wherever it was that I lived at down there.
Yeah.
That was really cool too.
Yeah.
Should I talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like a cavern itself. Like my room space was a cavern, like red rocks curving around. It just had this real warm, kind of almost like being in a womb or something, and my womb room. And but there was an area that was light and bright, and I tried to focus on it, and it was a niche, like it was little place that I could go into, like it had its separate, um, even a closing, like a clear closing on it. And I would go in, it was a garden. And there was like a little waterfall, a tiny little waterfall. And water was coming down, and all these things were growing. And this, it looked like sunlight was in there. And it's similar to the big cavern in both places. The big cavern had a very large orb, like a sun, up above that was putting light down. And my little place, my little garden place, had a little one. And then there were like little things flying. I can't remember if they were birds now, or I think they were little birds flying around, and like hummingbirds, kind of not, but not exactly. And I thought, wow. And I knew that this was a place I would meditate in. I would just go there to be still and be with the growing things and the light. And I was like, hey, I wish I could just be here all the time. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. Just I turned in like investigator. I'm like, and then what? And then what?
Yeah,
What
right.
is this like? And what is that like?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, that
trying
was
to
really
remember some
cool.
of the other stuff. I know there was a whole interesting thing about relationships down
Yeah,
there, because
yeah,
like I realized that I was part of a trio. There was another woman and a man, but it wasn't, it was more about the energetic relationship between us. And
mhm,
that I got that that was just a thing down there. You can have two or you can have three, and that there were different ways of conforming, and that the three of us, we could parent a child together if that's what we chose to do. And it was just a really intriguing glimpse at different ways of doing that and very different framing of relationships
right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I remember exploring all that. And then I think when we brought you out and started talking to your higher self is when I think some light language came through then. And I think that seems pretty typical for you, right? When you're in these sessions for the light language to come through.
Yeah, it started the very first session I had with Laura. Just it started coming through, and I wasn't surprised, because it's been showing up more and more just in my daily life. But it
Yeah.
will be activated by consciousness kinds
Yeah.
of work or meditation or yeah.
Okay. And when's the first time that you experienced your light language?
I was trying to think about that. I think it's been close to 3 years now. It's not a long time. I've always played with sound. I sing, and I've always done things with my voice and with instruments. I have some crystal bowls and that kind of thing.
Oh,
And I've done some sound healing here and there. I've done a lot of different healing modalities, and that's part of how this came about. Is that I knew my work here is to be a healer and a teacher, and I was trying to find what my niche was with healing, because I've tried this and I've tried that. I did transformational breath work for a while. I've done counseling, like spiritual counseling, healing, and lots of different things. And I was really feeling stuck and frustrated because nothing was going anywhere. So one day I had been doing a group meditation healing thing with other people, and they left, and I kind of sat down, to kind of journal a little bit about it on my computer. And I was thinking about something that happened during that, kind of an esoteric thing. And all of a sudden, this thing came out of my mouth, just like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it startled me, and I didn't know. And I stopped, and I thought, I think that was light language. I'd heard of light language. I've heard people doing it. Didn't know much about it.
yeah.
And so it just went from there. I got more interested in it, and it felt like it wanted to come through. And I really felt pretty early on that it was some kind of a response to what I
Mhm.
had been asking. So I was trying to think, well, how can I work with this? How can I use this in healing work? And so ever since then, it's been a journey, and now I give sessions that comes through me, and that's evolved over time too, about exactly what I do. First I
Mhm.
would just sit in front of the person and just do the light language, and sometimes I would get information and I would just tell them.
Mhm.
I would talk to them at the beginning and I would talk to them at the end, and they're never very long because it's intense, and when I'm in it I just feel like it's timeless, and I come out and it's been 10 minutes or 15
Right,
minutes.
right.
So a lot of it is the before and the after, but it's potent stuff.
Hmm.
I get
Yeah.
interesting extra information. So it's
Yeah,
been, yeah.
and you had mentioned that your light language kind of shifted after the session with me. Can you talk about that a little
Yeah, well, because it's been doing little up levels over time, and that was one of a big one actually. And I had been feeling in the back of my mind. I should preface this by saying, talking about something that was happening on the side, is that I've started channeling the light language, like channeling the information. I
Right,
don't get direct interpretation. It's
right,
not really word. It's not words. Light language is not
right,
words. It's frequencies. And so the closest you could come to is feelings, but it doesn't have specific words. So you can try to feel into those feelings and that energy, and then you can come up with words yourself for what that is. And then I started having experiences where I would read something or I would hear something, and suddenly this light language would come out of me. Actually, the first time it happened, it felt like a conversation. It felt like somebody else was speaking it through me.
right.
So I started seeing that pattern, and I thought, wow, maybe something's trying to tell me something about this. So I have a little recording app on my computer, and so I started to just push it as soon as that would happen, and the light language would come out, and then I'd start, okay, so what are you trying to tell me, whoever you are? And then I would start speaking in English this whole message, and I was really intrigued by that. I'm like, wow. And at first I'm like, I'm just making this stuff up, but I would put it away for a while, and I go back and I'm like, this is some good stuff here, so yes, and I've gotten better and better at it. And so what happened the day I did your session, the first one we ever did, is that I had felt a little voice telling me, because I hadn't yet done that in the sessions. I do the light language and then I'll talk at the end. And I felt like it was going to be more engaging for people, especially people who just aren't aware of this stuff much yet. They haven't been exposed to that much of it. That for them it was kind of out there, like pretty weird shamanic sounding kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I thought this something told me it was a good way to connect with people. So
Yeah.
with you, I just went for it. I felt this opening, and so the light language would come, and I would be seeing and feeling something, and then I would speak some English around it, and say a little bit what I was seeing and experiencing, and then it was going in and out the whole time. And so at the end, I thought, wow, that was really cool, because it just flowed easily.
Yeah.
And it's been a little bit hit or miss since then, but it's gotten stronger and, more, um, yeah, just more online and accessible, and getting some great information.
Yeah, yeah, the session that we had where you were doing the light language for me, um I just want to talk a little bit about the process of that a little bit. And so you had me kind of just get comfortable. I was laying on my chase lounge in my client space, and dim the lights, and just got into that space of receiving, and allowing you to tap into me as well and my energy. And then you started out with I think you started with the channeling of the light language, and then you had like an interpretation, like you were saying, like of what was coming through, and then also you were giving me information as far as like what you were seeing when you were channeling the light language. And so you had seen like some of my guides and stuff like that, and it's just so cool. It was just very, very, very cool. So
Oh,
yeah.
I'm glad you liked it. Yeah. A lot of times information will come in from someone's past, something that is connected to right now, what is needing to be cleared or moved, or and I'll see really good things happening too, that the client might need to activate, might need to step into, might need to, you know
Yeah.
take farther. So and I'll be given sometimes ways to help them do that, suggestions at the end. Usually I'll go and ask at the end of the session, what can I tell this person that would be helpful to them? Of
Right.
course, I always hear, tell them to drink a lot of water. That seems like all healers are hearing that right now, because it's
Yeah.
super important.
It is.
And when we were doing this energy work, we're electrical beings, and especially with these high frequencies coming through sound, it's running a lot of energy through both of our bodies, and so the water is really important.
Yeah, big
But
time.
yeah.
Now, I know that you had the light language come through when I was regressing you, like at the end when we were talking to your higher self, the light language came through. Have you had the experience yet where you've been regressing someone else and the light language came through?
I haven't done it yet. I'm just beginning to practice, and I got to dip my toes in. I'm looking forward to it because I get clearly that the light language is really going to be a key to the process of taking the person in. That especially if I'm helping somebody, heal or clear something very emotional or painful,
Yeah,
the light language can be soothing and grounding and anchor them, but not, keep them connected to their
right.
self, hold their body. So I do feel like it's a really great way to merge those things. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The I there was one client in particular I was working with, and we were removing a very dark attachment to her. And after that attachment was removed, all of a sudden the light language just came. I mean, it just comes out, like you were saying, it just comes out, right? And I was just like, okay, I guess we're doing light language now. And oh my gosh, it lasted it felt like forever. It felt like a long time. I mean, it may have been 5 minutes, it may have been 10, like I don't even know. It's like time just kind of disappears.
Right.
Um, and she said that when I was channeling light language, she was seeing and feeling this like a light blue energy, like a blue light energy coming from her feet up through her body and just healing her. And so that told me that there's definitely healing taking place while I'm speaking the light language, so there's definitely something to it for sure. And
Yeah.
so, and I've asked about light language to the galactics, and they've said that basically people that are in the transmission of the light language are meant to hear it, right? Because it's activating
Yeah.
something within them,
Yeah.
right?
It's always directly connected to their high self.
Right.
It's interacting with their high self. So
Yeah.
that's the most important thing for them is happening. And and my sense with the light language is it's me and it's not me. It's aspects of me as well as other helping assistants from guides and galactics and masters, and
Right.
who at the beginning I'll call them in for myself and for the client. And yeah, and I think that's why it also will be so great in an SCHH session, because those beings are there ready to assist, and I
Right.
can't do all of that for them. And so, as you were talking to, it occurs to me that at the end of the session, if you have someone who is still a little bit you know out there because they healed something massive,
Hmm.
I can close it with a light language treatment too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It just came to my mind that I think that the reason why the light language doesn't come through all the time is because it's not meant for everybody, right?
yeah.
And then I think getting permission at the beginning of a session from the client and and their higher self and whatever, that if there is light language that would benefit them,
Mhm.
that I be a conduit to bringing that through, right? And that will I guess set the stage, for that to come through on a more regular basis for myself,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
probably for you as well.
And that's a good point, Lynette, about asking the client, because I had thought of that too, that I would let them know I have this thing that happens for me, and I want you to be aware of it. I don't want you to be startled, and I want you to let me know now if you think that it would just be too much for you, and we'll make the intention that that it doesn't happen in your session, and
Yeah.
something like that, so that, because not everybody understands what it is, and it can
Yeah.
sound really out there, you know.
Yeah.
So if they don't know, I don't want them to be, put off by it.
Yeah.
And also, that makes me remember that a cool thing about light language is often the person receiving it, I might have the same pattern of sounds and energies coming through me, but say I do it with the group, each person hears it the way it's meant for them. And some people will hear, I have different energies come through that I'm aware of. I'll have old earth energies, elementals and devas, and I'll have galactic energies, and I'll have angelic energies, and the elves have been showing up. I guess those might be elemental. But these different, oh, and sometimes like real shamanic, real Native American or Aboriginal.
Yeah.
So it has to do with what the container is, the person, and the both of us actually, because I find I have always have a flow. There's a flow back and forth between us. We're activating each other.
Right.
So yeah, so with a group, it's cool because each person is hearing exactly what it is that resonates for them, and they're receiving exactly what is necessary for them,
Right.
even though one thing is coming according to my ears, you know. So
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
Well, I think it would be cool if you gave us an example of what the light language sounds like.
Sure. Yeah.
And, for people that may be listening to this video, and so maybe putting forth the intention that we bring through a message for, I don't know, the collective or anybody that would be encountering this video.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's something that has to do with where we're all going right now and bringing in the best for us. And oh, I should mention I do light language with my hands also. Light language can come through body movements, through drawing and writing, as
Mhm.
well as the voice. So it comes through my hands. So there's also a transmission coming through my hand movements.
Cool.
Okay, well, let me drop it in. Do. So Kore la le le ora isina iondo yandandarande. Ai sumato korinna na yokola la minda konda ishana ina. Koila mandari sinandari sinandari sina koronna yane. Ko Tukare esina ishamo unkolari okulari okonyima to sunda katari. Onko to mata kore sinata. Tukare mata katari shima asho tachin kana no to yama suri alu lamba ke mama tan to chuntu.
Beautiful. Thank you. That was awesome.
I never know at all what's going to come through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they just tone, sometimes they sing or speak or both.
Yeah. And I know that your light language is a little bit more unique and that you sing the light language, whereas a lot of people don't. A lot of people, it just comes through as straight,
Yeah.
whatever it's coming through, but you actually
Yeah.
sing.
I've been looking for people to sing it. There's a few people, but it's not
Yeah.
as common. I'm just a singer. I love to sing, and I think it just was like, okay, that's the channel for you. That'll work really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, very cool. Where can people find you if they wanted to book a session with you?
Well, I'm in process of that. I have a Facebook page. I'm still working on it. It's called Luminous Being. Um, and you can go on there, and my email is on there. I think my contact information is on there, and I'm working on a website. I want to get a website up, and I'm going to create a YouTube channel so you can see. I have session videos. At some point, I'll have the SCHH videos. So
Very
it's a
cool.
work in progress. So
Awesome. Well, if you send me the links, I can put it in the video so that they're there. So in the description.
thank you,
So
Emma.
yes, you're welcome. All right. Well, we'll just wrap that up, and thank you everybody for watching, and hope you're having a great day. Bye.